kevadises Tallinnas.
I would like to greet you here in Tallinn at the Rocket 69 Science Studio.
Tere!
Greetings everyone from this Tallinn in springtime at Rocket 69 Science Studio at Ülemiste campus. This is very close to the Tallinn airport. Good morning, good day, good evening, depending on which corner of the world you are following us from. So here in Estonia, it is a beautiful spring day, and it's actually very slow spring this year. But as you are here early, then you are able to watch real-time webcam looking at the nature, and you can do that also in the future, Googling this webcam. Today's virtual forum can be followed on Facebook and YouTube on the Estonian Foreign Ministry, on the websites of the Estonian Public Broadcasting Company and Postimees and Estonia World. But easiest to join us through a workshop link, which you can find on the websites of Global Estonians or the Ministry of Foreign Affairs on Facebook. So this is now the 7th of virtual forum. We are talking about the opportunities Estonia offers to Estonian young people who live abroad. So this is a land which is in the middle of forest and bogs, growing a lot of unicorns here. So we'll meet some exciting people, and we'll be starting with a completely new format. We'll have video postcards which will help us to familiarize ourselves with different communities, and this time it's Swiss Estonians. Music is by Eik, who is a musician and a poet, who just won the Estonian Language Deed Award. This forum will be interpreted into English and Russian, and you can choose your language immediately after entering the workshop environment. So our viewers from other countries can also participate in the airline ticket raffle, so enter workshop. And I would like to repeat once again that this is the link you can find on Global Estonia website or Facebook. You can also log in through the official virtual forum platform, workshop.com, and you can find this information on the screen with the ID for today's event. And now a little bit more about the lottery. Between our viewers, we will raffle out air tickets to Estonia. So one viewer can win a plane ticket for 2 people to Estonia and back, so it's a return ticket. And in addition, you can stay in a hotel in Tallinn. To participate in the raffle, click Enter the raffle, osale loosis. On the right-hand side of the screen, answer the questions and enter your information. But for the people living in other time zones could participate, then the lottery takes place on 10th of May at 12 noon Estonian time. The information and rules on the lottery can be found on the Global Estonia website in both Estonian and English. But now, get comfortable. We will be following a virtual forum, which will last about 2 hours. And let us begin. So first of all, we'll have the welcoming words of the Secretary General of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Jonatan Vseviov. dear Estonians across the world and also in our own country. Now, this is the 7th virtual forum, and this time we are focusing on the possibilities to return to Estonia and also link yourselves to Estonia in the future. We have lots of interesting speakers who are talking about their own experience returning to Estonia, using the opportunities. Of course, there's so many opportunities. We are one of the world's most successful digital states. We can talk about security, where Estonia knows what we're doing, and we're doing it well. But when it comes to we talk about the connections to Estonia, you don't have to move to Estonia, because you can have links to Estonia also when you live abroad. And we want to make sure that everybody who is living abroad would have good connections to Estonia, exactly the same way as everybody else who lives in Estonia. This presumes that you're familiar with the developments in Estonia, and that does not only mean news, but rather that you contribute towards the developments. You have your say in our developments of Estonia, and we have our networks of embassies, of course, and for the countries where the embassy is there, it's easier for them because the ambassadors there, the diplomats are there who keep contact with our communities and helping the communities to get organized. But in most of the world's countries, because of course Estonians are present everywhere in the world, but in many places we don't have embassies, and sometimes we have entire continents without cover. But nowadays, this is not really a problem, because now, when it is possible to communicate across time zones, oceans, and mountains, so this means that it's possible for us to stay connected to Estonia, regardless where you live, work. And there are so few of us across the world that all of us, we are ambassadors in our families, places of work, with our neighborhoods or friends. And it is important for us that this entire Estonia, whether it be here on the territory of Estonia or across the world, would be following the same principles. So, of course, before we decide what to do, we have disputes. Sometimes we have very heated debates what is going to happen. But this is what we do amongst ourselves. When we're facing outside, we are going to see our neighbors or wider communities. We talk to the government of the host country or do anything else regarding Estonia. Then it's important for us to know we are working together. We are for Estonia regardless where we are. So this is all what we're going to discussing today. Now this is the 7th time, and I can promise that we'll continue. So enjoy today's event and have your say.
Meil on väga põnev.
So this is a very interesting event today, because we can see what Estonia is offering to you. Is Estonia an opportunity? What can we do here? And here we have 3 guests. And let's have a chat and see how did they cope when they moved to Estonia. So we'll start from the middle. So Rebeka, Dronia. And Rebeka lived for 10 years and all her childhood actually in Namibia. So Rebeka would like to find out what brought you back to Estonia. Thank you. It's a very good question. And honest answer is that it was education and opportunities related to education. Because I'm very lucky, because I've had an amazing childhood. But when the time arrived, when I had to make a decision, how can I continue with my education, then there I didn't have opportunities which I had dreamt of. And since my roots were in Estonia, then this is what brought me back. So did you come back with your family? Or did you come back to your family here? Yes, I was with a family, because I don't think that alone I would have quite managed so well. So I had my family here, my aunts. So my aunt was a very strong support system. So all the lunches and dinners she provided, like she helped me after school a lot. And I had my grandmother here. But my mother and the rest of the family stayed in Namibia, so I actually came on my own. And Marika Kristi Lampi, who was born in the United States, and year 2005 you came here as an exchange student. And then you started working in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs later. So I wanted to find out what your childhood was like regarding you being an Estonian. Thank you. My childhood was very Estonian. Estonia was always in the focus because I grew up in Maryland, and that's the East Coast. So we had very active Estonian community there. So everything was as there. Whatever happened, my family participated Estonian school, guides, scouts, summer school, folk dancing, choir singing. So that was a huge part of my life as a child. And sometimes when I was a child, it really was an issue because I wasn't the same as the other American children. And I had my secret language with my parents. I had to attend school on Sundays. But when I grew, then I started to value this additional value it provided. Rebeka, more or less the same, guides and choirs in Namibia. Well, it's actually a complete opposite because I feel that if my mother had not decided to bring Estonian books from Estonia, then I would not be able to speak Estonia today. So I read all the Bullerbit Children and all the other books in Estonia, but my mother was the only person I could speak Estonian. So we had the secret language, which was great to have. So when I went to the shop or somewhere, so I could speak to each other, nobody understood us. So it was a little bit different. So she was the only person I could speak Estonian with. Thank you very much, William Person, because you grew up in Sweden, and I understand that you actually started to study Estonian when you were 19. So how did you acquire Estonian? It started with a very good grant. So it was a scholarship for Tartu. I studied for 1 year Estonian at the university, and this is how it happened. So when you were younger, before you were 19, you visited Estonia. Yes, we visited Estonia when I was a child. I had my grandparents here, but I did not really speak Estonia, only a few words. And it was important for me because when I was growing up, it was like I felt that there was a part of me missing because I could not speak Estonian. I was not able to communicate with the members of my family who were living here. So it was a very important thing for me that I could come here, and I actually learned Estonian. Well done, Marika. So what about your Estonian? Because when you came to Estonia, did you feel that you are fluent, or did you feel that you had really room for development? I studied Estonian at home because my parents were both born outside Estonia, but they both spoke Estonian at home. And once a week, I attended Estonian school in Baltimore, Maryland. And it was very good, strong Estonian school every week. So we had Estonian language lesson and singing and literature and folk dancing. So I got a lot of it from the Estonian school. But at the same time, when I came to Estonia, came to study in Tartu, I found that this sort of casual Estonian I had learned from my parents was not quite exactly the same that young students were speaking in Tartu or what I heard during my lectures. So it was a completely different level academic language. And we really had to make an effort because I thought I spoke Estonian, but it was difficult for me.
How did you overcome it? Just I had to make effort, and it took time. And of course, spending time with Estonians, the more time you spend in this language environment, the easier it is. And of course, it's very good if people surround you whom you can ask anything from, and you don't feel embarrassed asking something that is self-evident to others and not to you. Rebeka, back to you. What would you recommend to others who are still considering coming to Estonia? That's also a very good question. I think it slightly also depends on what is the most important thing for you, what you need, what's your support system, what do you need to feel confident. I believe friends always help, and also being up to speed on Estonia's relevant events, developments. I remember it so well when I came to Estonia and I went to school. Then in school, everybody was speaking about a film that had recently been released, the Tulnukas alien film, and I couldn't contribute because I hadn't seen it and I felt that it was difficult to fit in. So when you consume the same media, the same things that Estonians are interested in and get up to speed on that, on what is currently relevant, that helps start conversations. And it's a good segue. I think that's true. William, when you came, then you came and joined conscription. So how did you come up with that idea? I had several reasons. Firstly, I was simply interested, and everybody else, all the other boys my age, went into conscription as well, and I also felt the obligation to do so. And in the end, it was a very good opportunity to practice my Estonian. I wanted to be in Estonia, and I also felt that if I leave now, then I will forget everything. So it was a very practical way to stay in Estonia. I had food and board and full agenda, lots of sports. Well, not just sports. That was very exciting. First, it was scary. So it's not that your Swedish peers joined conscription, but your peers at Tartu University. Well, in general, I mean in general. Boys my age, well, it's obligatory in this country, so I didn't think of myself as an exception. It wasn't obligatory for you, though. Yeah, no, it wasn't. I was born outside of Estonia. So was it more about Estonia or the defense forces? What attracted you more? I would say Estonian defense forces. Marika, a question to you. Is it very easy to take care of business in Estonia, or is it just a legend to get things done? Yes, it is easy in Estonia. When you settle here, once you are a citizen of Estonia, then you already have an Estonian ID card, then you can do everything. And there are more and more things in my life that I need to take care of in Estonia. When I was living in Italy for 4 years as an employee of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, I worked in Rome at the Estonian embassy. Then it's much easier to take care of things remotely from Italy than to do things local things in Italy. So everything, insurance, everything else is easy remotely. But I would add one thing, since I worked as a consul at the embassy and the Estonian ID card needs to be kept valid and you need to know where our ID codes are, because when you need to start dealing with that, when it becomes invalid, then that's more complicated. William, what do you think? Do you agree with Marika that it's easy to take care of business? Yes, I agree. And it's just a very safe place and you don't really need to worry about things. It was slightly easier for me in the sense that I moved from an EU country to an EU country. But when you come from Canada, the US, or Africa, then I do think it might be a bit more complicated. But in principle, I agree. And you can go home quite frequently, probably, to Sweden. Well, actually, I cannot go back home very frequently due to work, but when I have a longer holiday, then I usually go visit my parents. Rebeka, what about you? How often do you go to Namibia? Well, it's a longer journey, so I don't travel there very frequently. I would like to go more often, but we have an agreement that my mother also comes to Estonia, or we meet somewhere else. Last year, for example, we met in Portugal. But last, I went to Namibia in 2017, and let's see, maybe I will go at the end of this year. Marika, how do you resolve homesickness? Well, it's not so much about the place in my case. I don't miss being in America very much, but I miss my parents and sister and brother. Well, my brother is in Canada actually, but still on that continent. And the solution has been that my parents come to Estonia or to Europe quite often. When I was in Italy, they visited Italy, and my brother has visited as well. I haven't been to the US for more than 5 years, but this summer I have a trip coming up. And basically, for my children, it's going to be like their first trip to the US because last time they were very small, so I can introduce my American homeland to them. The diaspora children's camps are close to my heart. Are you planning to put your kids in a children's camp in Estonia or in the US? I would really like to go to the Lakewood camp with my children in New Jersey, but the timing is complicated. Can I take out my holiday then when it's taking place? And my grandfather helped build the campsite there, so it's very close to my heart, and I would really like my children to have that experience in the future, that they would go there for a week to camp under the pine trees. Sounds wonderful. Do you have a memory that stands out when you first came to Estonia? Some bizarre coincidence, some misunderstanding, or some weird experience. Rebeka, you mentioned the movie Tulnukas or Alien, that caused a divide between you and others. How did you just otherwise? Was there a moment when you felt that now I belong here, or now I need to make extra efforts to feel at home? Well, I can't remember this one point when I recognized that now I belong here, but rather when I had the confidence to express myself in Estonian. I went to Tartu University to study law, and the Estonian language legal acts were really shocking for me. So I felt insecure speaking Estonian for a long time, and when I felt that I have the confidence to go up to people and speak in Estonian, I think that was the point when I felt that everything is fine, that I feel good here, I feel safe here. So language is something that unites definitely. But my childhood was spent among nature to a big part. My family enjoyed going camping and sleeping under the stars. We had lots of adventures, so often you had to use a flashlight to find your bed and not step on a scorpion. So when it comes to Estonia, then I'm very grateful that the most dangerous creatures in Estonian forests are probably ticks. So there's no vaccine against lions yet. So in Africa, there are different things to consider. So it's very safe here. It's very cozy, and knowing the language definitely made me feel comfortable here. William, did you have a moment when you felt that I live here, this is my home? I agree that language is important. I am still working towards improving my Estonian on a daily basis, but when I started feeling more confident with Estonian, then that definitely helped, so I agree. But I can't say that there was one singular moment. Maybe that's still coming. Well, I would say I've arrived. I work here. I feel at home here. You are now a professional in the military. Yeah, I'm in the Scouts battalion. Marika, did you have a moment when you realized that I'm here, I've arrived? Maybe when people stopped asking me, why did you come to Estonia? Why don't you want to live in the US? People in the beginning were really confused about this. And when they stopped asking me this question, then I felt that it was clear to others and to me that I'm staying here. This is what I want. And Estonia offers me more than the US does. Thank you to all of you. I don't know whether you have some pieces of advice for our listeners to finish with. If you think that living in Estonia might suit you, then give it a try. Maybe on a temporary basis. I was supposed to come on a temporary basis as well. That was close to 20 years ago. And even if you spend a short period of time here, then still you create more connections to Estonia. And this experience will enrich your life. I would add that at one point I realized, I don't know whether everybody will get there in their life, but at one point you want to find out more about your roots, and you get really curious about where you come from and who's my grandmother and great-grandmother. And it's great if it's related to Estonia. So come to Estonia and you will be able to satisfy your curiosity and enjoy Estonian traditions and meet your relatives. I agree that it's very enriching. Learning Estonian is definitely a good thing, but just spending some time here and creating connections with your own background and family is very valuable. Thank you, William, Rebeka, Marika. Thank you for telling us your stories. And I would also note here that if you are still considering trying out living in Estonia, then pay attention. For young people aged 18 to 35, there is a special grant to spend 1 or 2 months in Estonia for a professional internship. The next call for applications will open next year. So look at the Global Estonian portal and add yourself to the newsletter list, and you will receive all the information in your mailbox. Thank you.
Oleme stuudios tagasi.
We're back in the studio with a new set of guests, so we can speak about an exciting new school that has been established in Estonia. And first, on my right-hand side, we have Egon Saks. Before we continue with who is sitting next to you, let's speak a little bit with you. Tell us, what are the circumstances of you being in Estonia? I worked abroad and was an exchange student in France. And classmates were Mexican, and Christina's sister was one of them and asked me to visit Mexico. And I went for a number of weeks, and Christina showed me around, and then I came back, and Christina came to visit me. In December, she visited, and we traveled around Europe. And in May 2017, I decided to go to Mexico. I stayed there. Up until February 2022, and I came back because of Code Jõhvi, because of the innovative programming school. And I knew that if I'd be admitted, I would come back. So let's speak about that. When you found out about the coding school, then how did the admission process go? You had to do it remotely from Mexico. In January 2022, I remotely took the admission test, and you find out whether you're admitted or not, and then you can choose when you can take the extra exam. And I chose April. I thought that I want to do it right away. I could have done it in May or in the autumn, and in April in Yofi, there were entry exams that lasted for 3 weeks. I was successful. And then I waited until September to go to school. And we had a new building, so school started in November, actually. So I started school in November, and I decided that I want to try school life. And I lived in the dorm with everybody else till I was firm on my feet and felt that it's possible for me to learn remotely as well. So you don't have to be in Yofi for your studies. What are you studying in the coding school Code Yofi? I study software development there, and it's peer-to-peer instruction. It's free, there's no teacher. The school provides the computer, all opportunities. You can study in the dorm, you can study wherever, and we study with others. We have platforms, and 3 to 5 people work together on a project, and a very strong community, a lot of teamwork. We change roles all the time, and the learning is learning with the other students. You give them an overview of the code, they give you an overview, and it gets more difficult gradually. I really enjoy it. What's the age range of the students? Very diverse. It should be 18, but some show an interest at 16 already and take the entry exams. And I think the oldest person is just over 60 years. So a very diverse group of people, and that makes studies very interesting, that it's not people with the same background. We have Olympian athletes, we have chefs, really very diverse backgrounds. So it's possible to really change your career. Yes, and that's what I'm doing. I recommend it to everyone. Give it a try. It's free. You take the online test. When you get in, then you can choose for the on-site test and exam time, and then you can plan your own studies. How long do the studies take? I think it should be 18 months, but you plan your studies. If you want to go quicker, you can. You find a good team to work quicker, and nobody will stop you. But there is a maximum limit. You can't stay a student forever, but you can move along at your own pace. And many people are working and learning. They're interested, and they're very successful in combining work and studies. And when will you graduate? I will graduate at the end of May, beginning of June. That's my plan. And I am the second year to finish. So the school keeps enrolling students. So altogether there are 5 years of students. Time flies, really. But who did you come to Estonia with?
So this is my wife, Kristiina. Hello, my name is Kristiina. I'm Mexican, and I came here with my husband about 2 years ago. So about 2 years ago. Are you studying Estonian? Yes, I'm studying Estonian through the Settle in Estonia program. And it's really good, and I study Estonian 3 times a week. I started in August. So did you want to start learning Estonian right away?
They have a wait list. So we arrived in 2022, and I had to wait 1 full year until I actually got a spot. So I had to be monitoring, checking until I finally did it. I started with A1 in August, and now I'm studying A2.
Tubli.
Well done. So how did you decide then that you're coming here together? Because it had to be a joint decision. Yes, indeed, because I was in Mexico and France because Christina also studied in France as an exchange student. So I learned Spanish. And then I wanted Christina to be participate in my culture as well, so she can communicate with my parents, because my parents don't speak English or Spanish. So she's studying the same way, like her mom only spoke Spanish. So I had to be able to communicate. So it was a conscious decision. How do you like it in Estonia? I like nature in Estonia, which is very beautiful. I like summertime here. I like snow as well during the winter, because in Mexico we don't have snow. So do you have any recommendations who would like to change their career or would like to come and live here? Do you have recommendations what it's like to come with your spouse from a completely different environment? I do. So based on my experience, I would say do use the chances offered by Code Jõhvi. You don't have to have any other education in advance, because you can just do the online test and then you get information when to come for the next round of testing. So do try it out. We have a very good integration program in Estonia, because the Settle in Estonia program in Estonia. So Christina is learning Estonian, and so it's an international environment. All the museums and everything else are free when you're studying Estonia, because that means that it allows you to familiarize yourself better with Estonia and you would be better integrated. So I'd recommend you to come, because nothing to lose, there is more to win. Thank you very much. And I wish you all the best, good graduation. And you will graduate from A2 and start with B1. And see you again next time.
Eesti keele konkursi eesmärk.
Estonian language deed competition is meant for all these activities which are valuing Estonian language learning and studying and skills. So congratulations, Eik. In 2023, you won the popular vote for Estonian language deed. So my question is that as you're a poet and a musician, you are 23 years old, but over 10 years you've been doing this already. So writing poetry in Estonia, is it important for you? Yes, indeed, because I've tried to write poetry in English as well, as it was my homework, but I feel also when we're looking for this next big thing in Estonia, and our musicians wants to go abroad, you think you have to do it in English. They'll say, well, are you going to write lyrics in English in order to go abroad? But no, but not really, because we do the best when we write in Estonian, because Mari Kalkun, folk artist, others who are really producing music which is unique to us. When I write in Estonia, I feel it's sincere. It comes from sort of certain cultural space which I really know and I'm part of. Is this the pronunciation, the meaning? So how do you approach your lyrics? I can't really tell you because it really is coming from within, but I believe that this is comfortable for us to play with the Estonian language. Synonyms, for example, because it's a very rich language. So because we have borrowed a lot of words and expressions from other languages as well. So it's a fantastic mixture. So there are many opportunities. So on your bookshelf, you have a lot of dictionaries. I probably have 2 or 1, and these are really old as well, but everything is available online. So all the database and synonym dictionary is actually, or thesaurus is my best friend, because you can't think, because there was some sort of other ways to say, express, if you talk about tone, for example, there are other meanings to the word tone besides from black, so I can discover new meanings. Do you have any favorite sources? Thesaurus and also dictionary where I can check if my grammar is good. Yes, indeed, because this is the language deed of the year. Your poem is, the lyrics are, the title is Hulga Hall, Grey as a Seal, and this your grandfather, Ellen Valter, wrote it. It comes from the film Siin me oleme, and if you would like to see it on Jupiter online in the Estonian Public Broadcasting Company site, this film is available. Can you tell us a little bit about background? Yes, indeed, it's one of these cult films, and because when I heard that it was not considered to be enough artistic because it was a bit of too much of TV show, but my grandfather wrote the music for it, and this is something which survives in people's memory. I was sitting there with my band and with a guitarist and a producer. We were drinking tea and then whiskey, and I thought that we'll have to do like remake, which is done from old songs, and I thought that there has to be some old Estonian music like Virmaliste Naer. And this is where this original music started playing from the film, but I thought that we have copyrights already because this is my grandfather's music, and this is my grandfather's 100th anniversary. It was in January, and so this is how it all just happened. So what will be the most famous song written by your grandfather? Hulga Hall is one, but Põhjamaa is probably the most famous because this is considered to be the second anthem of Estonia. So the song festivals is always, and for Pipi Pikksukk theatre show, it was written, and that during the Soviet occupation, he said that let's do something which gets this red old men angry. So it was a story about Estonia, but he said no, it was all about Sweden because Pippi Longstocking from Sweden. And since our viewers are across the world, do you have any country or anywhere in the world you would like to go and perform? You have to go where you're invited. So I'm open to everything. So the instructions are there. Thank you very much. The floor is yours.
Õppinud ära, kuidas õigel ajal lahkuda, kogu haljused ja graafikusse mahtuma. Ära lase nendel laintel endas lahtuda, kui me pikutame vaikselt hallid taeva all purjus peaga suudlused, hiljem leitud puudused. Või kõrvus kumisemas merevesi, mis alatasa meid hulluks teeb. Läbi märjas pintsakusse, seisad tühi rannal ja ootad pisut veel, sest lubatud just sai. Nad ei otsinudki sind, vaid hoopis su sõbrannat ja mootor jääbki seisma, saadad kuradile kõik. Ärge vihjake mu alalõuale, kord 10 korda kuulsam veel ja siis iga pidu ainult pereringis, muidu linna peal ära tuntakse. peas lainetusse tormata, kuni saalis tuleb kõige jõhkrama tormiga tunda ennast nagu kalavees, sest kuskil oma saarmajakesest mere ääres lähed Käsmu lahele kruiisile. Saad kätte honorari tasu asemel on mingid suvapaugud tiitrites. See on su nähtamatu võitlus, alles mõned pikad paberid. Kui vaatan kõik, kui ma lööd, siis ikka hea, kui su jaoks on kuskil keegi ja kord ka meie saame Nobeli preemia, kõik kaotada tagasi teenida ja kui keegi ei meeldida tossudesse pissida, miski kannab meid veepinnal beebina, katused ei lase läbi, kui kõhus lendab tilvlikaid, ära küsi, see on Slava käsi.
Meie järgmine külaline on...
Now our next guest is joining us from Australia, Susanna Valter, who works in the Work in Estonia program. Susanna, welcome. I understand that this program started in 2015, so can you tell us a little bit about how it came about? Hello, everybody. This program, Work in Estonia, started from Estonian companies had a shortage of labor, especially in the IT sector. So the Ministry of Economic Affairs and Communication had a strategic decision to create a program. So first of all, to get a bit more of a name recognition for Estonia, because Estonia is known as a good country where to live and work. So what is your job? So I started a couple of years ago as a consultant for businesses. So I supported companies on all the topics of services. And now I'm the head of partnership relations. So I work with the public sector organizations who are offering different services for foreign talents who are moving to Estonia. So coming back to Work in Estonia, then I'd like to get to know you a little bit better. So what was your own journey that you ended up in working for Work in Estonia? So from university, I was always really was dealing with the mobility, with people, especially within EU. So I started to study languages, and I wanted to find out how I could manage myself in Italy. So living in Italy for 3 years, then I moved to other countries as well. So the time I'd been away from Estonia was already 10 years long. A couple of years ago, when I came back to Estonia, then I hope that my international experience in different countries, that I can give something back to Estonia so I can be of use. So I found this program. And yes, indeed, it was very exciting for me. How can I support the people who are coming from other countries to Estonia? And how can they manage better here? But why did you return? It was 2021, and a couple of years before that, before the pandemic and the crisis, I had some thoughts about coming back to Europe. Things are closer to each other. We have it's interesting because Australia was. I wanted to move on. So Work in Estonia. How does the recruitment work? What are the measures you use, and what is the program about? Because I understand that you're not leading it alone, but it's more than one of you. Yes, indeed. In the team, we have 10 people. So when this program started in 2015, there was only one person. We are trying to attract talent. We support them when they arrive, when they get acclimatized, and they build a Estonia reputation. People who've been to Estonia, who are here as a tourist or worked here, will talk about Estonia and Estonian businesses to their friends and colleagues and their family members. And this means that this is how the reputation is then created. You mentioned foreign talents and the talents coming back home. So is there a difference there? Are you looking for Estonians to bring back home, or are you bringing in other nationalities as well? Yes, indeed, this program supports Estonians who are returning home, like myself, foreign talents, and also people who are interested in coming to Estonia and maybe start their own company here. And they would like to build their life here, either staying here long term, 5 to 10 years for good, or there's some people who would like to get the experience from Estonian startup world. So they've been here a couple of years, and they are contributing towards the IT sector with the knowledge and experience. Then this is also good for Estonian companies. Can you tell us about the arrival or this adaptation support system? So how can you help? First 3 years, we worked on marketing so people would be aware of Estonia, and other people would know that Estonia is a good place for living and working. And then the feedback from companies and the feedback from these foreign talents who came here, they said that they were getting a bit lost in the system, how they can find things. So the idea was to build this kind of international center. Well, this idea exists in other countries as well, so it wasn't completely unique. So this enabled us to create a place where the public sector services all in the same place. So register your address, ID, getting an ID card, what happens if your spouse arrives, what happens when your children arrive. So how can your spouse start working? So we have a police and border guard, unemployment fund, integration foundation, and other services perfectly available, this international house. So it's supposed to be a one-stop shop, so the people would get all the documents done. So these are very practical needs as well, so that people can move to Estonia and settle in very quickly. How are you going to look for these talents? Are they based on different fields or in a certain target country? How does it work from your end? So in principle, we have the portal Work in Estonia, so it's the workinestonia.com. So where we have the job offers and information, which includes all the information about working in Estonia. And so we do digital marketing. We attend fairs in different countries, especially in Europe, also outside Europe, for example, United States, also UK, Brazil. So we are attracting the people to the website so they would look up the possibilities and opportunities, what are the work offers, job offers that are available, and we get feedback from companies, which are the countries where you can bring this top-level specialist in. If you're in aviation, for example, where these people are being trained, so where can you bring them in from? In Europe, we are working with Spain, Italy, Germany, Finland, Latvia, Lithuania. So there were different campaigns and marketing events there. So I understand that workinestonia.com is the place where all this information is available. So can we talk a little bit about salaries as well?
Salaries in Estonia have increased in recent years. Have there been any discussions or surveys regarding competitiveness of Estonian salaries outside Estonia? Yes, as I mentioned in the beginning, then primarily we're focused on the IT sector, and IT salaries are high across the globe, so we cannot compare them to the US, but even junior developers make more than 2,000 euros, and senior developers can compete with even German and Swedish salary level. So you're just getting started. You start from the lower salary level, but what's good in Estonia is that you can advance your career quickly and you can evolve. So if you work hard, take initiative, then in a few years you can already move on to the middle level, and the salaries grow quite a lot year on year because competition is steep across the globe. So nobody needs to do the work on a voluntary basis. I've asked lots of questions. Susanna, is there anything that I didn't ask? Is there anything that you would like to add? Yes, I wanted to mention that currently Estonia is also looking for engineers with different background, mechanical engineers and electrical engineers, etc. And there is a shortage of people in education sector, in research. Also doctors and nurses. Why is Estonia a good place to live? Well, very many people know the reasons already. They have been to Estonia. But what I have understood in the past 5 years is that compared to my experience in Italy or Australia, the digital society, the simplicity of doing business online and striking a great balance between your private and work life and stable environment and safe environment as well compared to Italy, Spain or some other countries. Thank you very much, Susanna, for joining us. Very interesting information. And it's very good to know where to get additional information from. So greetings to you, to Australia, where you can enjoy autumn while we are enjoying spring in Tallinn. Our next guest is Eve Peterson, who is the head of Startup Estonia. Welcome to the studio, Eve. Thank you for the invitation. Let's start from the beginning. What is Startup? So we are speaking about not any startup company, though in some countries it is viewed that way, but we have drawn a line that a startup is an innovative technology company that can be scaled quickly across the globe. So I love pastry, don't take me wrong, but a bakery is not a startup because the production side, you cannot really scale it up to a global company. It's much more complicated, so we would not see a bakery as a startup. When is a startup no longer a startup? When has it developed to the next level that you would use a different term? There are different approaches. Some say it's up to 5 years when it becomes a regular company. And we see that in real life it's not so. We could put it at 10 years, but that might not apply either. In general, when fast growth ends and it becomes mature, stable, finds its place in the world, finds its business model, and operates like a bakery, then it's no longer a startup in that sense. We also call some companies scale-ups when the startup has reached a very quick growth phase, has found its product and market and compatibility with the customer and raises capital and has a high capacity team, then it develops very quickly, and then it's in the scale-up phase, and then it becomes mature at one point, hopefully, unless it falls down. And what is the role of Startup Estonia with all this? Our task is to operate in the background in cooperation with the Ministry of Economy and Communications and in cooperation with the community and all other umbrella organizations working on startups, making sure that we have a network, we have the environment, starting from legislation to accessibility to talent and availability of services. It's the best place for startups to be born and to grow into global high potential success stories, as we've seen, and which we're very proud of. So when you're working in the background, then those who have a business idea, should they turn to Startup Estonia? Yes, we do the background work. We work on regulations, startup visa, and the regulatory framework, and we deal with the availability of services, not by providing them, but by making sure that the organizations, about 120 service providers, exist for the target group we believe are necessary, and we're looking at the progeny as well, not just the current situation. So availability of human capital, availability of services, and regulatory framework that facilitates. We impact this by organizing different events, study trips, organizing procurement. So there are lots of different ways we check the background. But when a startup wants assistance directly, then we have already players on the market, starting from accelerators or research parks or events or co-working spaces and hubs. That's where you get started. So that means there are lots of ideas in the pipeline. Where do the startup ideas come from? How do you facilitate that environment to make sure that there are more and more ideas? Well, that's the million-dollar question. They're a good idea, and then implementing the idea are the two most important components that make a startup successful. But the idea can come from two places, I would say. One thing is when you work for your employer or in your private life, you see that something just doesn't function. It doesn't work. But I have an idea of how I could resolve it in a better way. Like Taxify got started. You can't get a hold of a taxi. You're sitting there waiting. And so it started from this personal perception and resolving the problem. So these ideas can come to you during the work you do or during your studies, and you develop it into a business. And usually that functions the best when you have personal experience and background and you know how to make things function better. And the other way is discovery, especially when we speak about research intense business. For example, you worked and in a research group and you developed a molecule, and then you start looking for the business where to use it the best. Such a good thing. Who wants to buy this idea and how to expand? So these two examples. And the ecosystem in recent years really is flourishing. So is it about patent or copyright? But what is the secret behind it? Well, it's not so simple. I often hear this question when I speak to external partners. So what is the secret behind the Estonian Big Bang? How did it happen? I've given it some thought, and I think it's a part about the state being wise and umbrella organizations being wise, and also coincidence. When Skype was sold off, then this created a group of experienced entrepreneurs who had experience of building a global company, a technology company. They had capital, they had investment capacity, and in addition to that, the state actually wanted to invest into this new type of entrepreneurship and wanted to cultivate it. And a startup is a unique program. So setting KPIs and budgets 7 years ahead of time, I think that is part of the success story. Secondly, we have wonderful people who will go through the wall, who say that I can do it, nobody can tell me that I can't. It doesn't matter that I come from tiny Estonia, and part of the secret recipe is probably tiny Estonia, that you can immediately come to the understanding that if you want to be successful, you have to make it global. So you grow from an idea to a global undertaking. So political will, people's entrepreneurship spirit, and also long-term plan, and what do we want to achieve, and we are dreaming about this awesome new type of business. So the courage, and this courage is based on experience and the resources and the state support. So I can imagine that this is like fairy dust. Where is this ecosystem headed towards? Can we see the ecosystem ripening or evolving? What are the future prospects? Well, the world is in constant development and change. Well, when we 10 years ago thought about future dreams, then we thought that by 2020 we would have 1,000 startups. Then we had a few hundred, and by the end of 2020 we had many more than 1,000. But when we look at the future, is the quantity important? Well, that's another question. When we look at our very successful unicorns and many of the companies who are known in the world and whose solutions are used, they are based on information technology and application-based. And now when we look at the problems that the world is currently tackling, climate crisis, transportation crisis, food crisis, and climate change, can these be resolved in a way or not? That's a question. Rather, the answer is no. So new energy, food, health technology solutions require much more complicated solutions. You need research, engineering, design together. And you actually need to bring together more and more people globally, because the problems are much more diverse and solutions are more complicated. And when it comes to time and capital, then they're more intense, and then you need to market it and make it into a good business. That's new, but that's our task at hand. And over the next 7 years, we plan to focus on research, intense ecosystem establishment. You said unicorn. What does it mean? Market value 1 billion? Yes. Since people are listening to us from all parts of the world, then can an Estonian be useful? Well, I don't know whether this is the best wording, but can an Estonian be useful when they live outside Estonia? We're running out of time, so quick answer. Yes, of course. There are so few Estonians. We need to be spread out. We need to cover the world with our spirit. Rainer Stedfeld's podcast, Global Estonians, is something I recommend you listen to. They speak about how Estonians who have traveled the world and come back and applied all this know-how in the community, that this is a great value and Estonians have to be global and then at one point come back home. That's inevitable. To help with this exchange of know-how, yes, and bring in a breath of fresh air. Well, thank you very much for explaining Startup Estonia and what it does. So that's very useful to make sure that the ecosystem is supported and integral. When we speak about Estonians across the globe, then next we have a video postcard from Switzerland, how they live there, how they do things together, and what they do exactly. Dear global Estonians, we are sending you greetings from mountainous Switzerland. And this year, Tartu and mountainous southern Estonia is the culture capital of Europe, then it's the right timing. There are 26 cantons and 4 state languages in Switzerland. 3 of them are really dominant. So Switzerland is divided into 3 areas: French, German, and Italian language regions. And our 1,000 Estonians are spread out across Switzerland, from Geneva to Zurich, Silvaplano to Erlin, and from Lugano to Asel. And Estonians are everywhere, but the bigger groups of Estonians are around Geneva and Zurich. The Swiss Estonian Society was started more than 70 years ago when Vladimir Kuk reached Switzerland as a refugee. He gathered the Estonians there, about 20 of them at the time, in order to meet on the anniversary of the Republic and on jaanipäev, St. John's Day. And the idea was to maintain love of country. Now our society has about 100 members, and there are about 1,200 Estonians living in Switzerland. For the past 10 years, our society has been very fruitful. We have a wonderful choir that is now independent, but already has attended the song festival. And 10 years ago, the Youth and Children's Club got started. And this year, with Andrus Kivirähk, we are celebrating this anniversary. Some years ago, in Bern, the capital of Switzerland, a literature club was established where people read Estonian books, come together for a picnic, discuss the book, and have good food, as Estonians do. 2 years ago, we came up with the idea that we should put together a choir for children as well, so that the young children would also be injected with the choral music DNA. And this brings us to today, where we are publishing a newspaper. And this is the 5th edition. So we have the will to act and lots of love for country that is enduring. Though we don't have an embassy in Switzerland, then we have regular consular visits from Vienna that are often related to Estonians' events as well. And during these visits, Estonians are able to do their consular affairs and business. But the new thing is that we have e-residency pop-up embassy in Zurich. So when you apply for e-residency card, then you can also choose to receive your card in Zurich, which of course is great news, because there are 660 e-residents in Switzerland, and they, in their own way, are fans of Estonia and contribute to the Estonian brand. And hopefully they also invigorate Estonian economy. Hello, I'm Michael Rice.
It has been a wonderful experience so far, meeting with a lot of dynamic, energetic Estonians and interacting with the different organizations that represent Estonia here and Estonian culture. And I'm really pleased that in 2022, with a group of Estonian and Swiss entrepreneurs, we managed to establish the Estonian Chamber of Commerce in Switzerland, which has a lot of followers, a lot of active members, almost 50 different private and corporate members, both in Switzerland and in Estonia. And the idea was to create an additional forum, an additional platform for the business community with interests in Estonia and in Switzerland, make sure that these people, executives and entrepreneurs, meet together, learn from each other, and foster the business ties between Switzerland and Estonia.
We live in an era where the conductor of Toonhalle, Regis Paavo-Järvi, and this is a big prerogative because Estonians often meet at concerts there and listen to classical music. And Estonian flags are flown elsewhere as well. In Silvaplana, next to St. Moritz, there is a hotel, and on the wall we see the Swiss, the Graubünden canton, and Estonian flag. It is managed by an Estonian lady who brings together not only Estonians in Switzerland, especially in February, but the entire Estonian community in Switzerland. And this venue has become a wonderful center for winter sports, where we also do cross-country skiing and where we often spend our Christmas event together with the society. All in all, we can say that in Switzerland we are truly lucky because the community of Estonians truly support each other. We are actively involved in Estonian developments and hope to do something for Estonia. And when Estonians meet in Switzerland, then one wonderful thing is that these gatherings are charged with positive energy, and we try to maintain Estonian language traditions and to promote our activities.
Good evening, and now we're going to do something we have never done before. So Ellen Valter, who has come from Toronto to moderate this forum and who has been doing a great job, but now she's going to be the one who will be interviewed. And I will be the one to ask the questions, although I do not really have as much experience as Ellen. So first of all, Ellen, we are very grateful as organizers that you helped us to moderate this forum today. We have had 7 of these events, and you're the first moderator who is actually an Estonian born in another country. So that means the way you talk to the people here, this is all based on your own experience, on your own emotions, because you know exactly what it means to grow up as an Estonian in another country. But we wanted to give you the floor because in Toronto, you are also leading an initiative which can be considered to be the most important undertaking for Estonians born in a foreign country. Most of the people who are listening will know what it's about, but this on the table, this helmet will give us a hint. So can you please tell us what it is, what you've been doing over the last years in Toronto? Thank you very much. And I would like to also thank the Ministry of Foreign Affairs that you organize these virtual forums. I think it's a brilliant idea. And it's also a very good idea for us to keep in touch with what is happening in Estonia, because we might be not reading Estonian news on a daily basis to find out what is most important for us. So these events are great. So twice a year as we have them. So I hope you will continue. And thank you for the confidence for allowing me to moderate. Over the last few years, or maybe even 3 years, I've been a project manager. So this is the International Estonian Centre. So as a brand name right now is only in English. So I think it's a new approach when it comes to our Estonian diaspora, because when the Estonian house in Toronto, it was just getting too old. And we could not really do much about it there, so we had to find an alternative. So this is where it all started. Who are we as a diaspora? Are we doing our own thing? We have our folk groups, dancing, singing. So people on the street, should they know who Estonians are a bit more? And Toronto Estonian House, we had a restaurant in the basement. It was a bit far. So let's bring the restaurant and the food culture and what Estonia can offer on the street floor so people who pass by will find it. So this is where these ideas were coming from. And so this project grew and grew. And now it's almost $50 million worth, 47 million about. So we don't know the final cost yet, almost 50. So indeed, this is going to be one of the biggest undertakings. So I'll tell you a little bit about the money, because selling the old house, we got 14.5. Then Estonian organization offer $5 million. Canada supports us with that on $1 million. And the rest are capital raising campaigns. So this is the International Estonians, $19.3 million. So we are missing a little bit. But about 10 million has been put down already. So we're building. And we have reached the street level, so now the house is going to be rising, so we'll be able to see amazing things. Yes, indeed, what you have decided to do, this undertaking, is impressive, because I came myself to see this construction site about 1.5 years ago, because you were underground with your works then. And of course, I understand that the burden for you is quite impressive. The responsibility you feel is also quite overwhelming. But perhaps something we have to remember is that Toronto Estonians are one of the best organized and most active communities of Estonians outside Estonia. And we do know that today it has been 80 years from the Great Escape of 1944. Well, people left Estonia. People loved Estonia, but they had to leave. And you are all there as the descendants of this amazing generation. They had to start the political fight right away, because Estonia was not free then. And this is the spirit you've been raised with. So I believe that this is where the people are from. This is where your power is coming from. Estonians tend to be fairly stubborn people. I believe that this is very good, that if you have your own house in the center of Toronto, but let's say myself, Estonian from Estonia, or Estonian from somewhere else, from Sweden, Spain, Australia. So if they go to Toronto, so why should they drop by, or can they drop by? What can they find there? I believe that this house will be easy to find, because this is all part of the cultural kilometer in Toronto, where we have the embassies and cultural institutes. There is France Alliance Française, Italian Institute of Culture, and the Royal Museum, and all the other important buildings. So Toronto University is across the street from us, so businesses are there. People who are interested in culture will be there anyway. And then the building can be designed. Design was by Estonian architect Alar Kongats. He's the only one who's had 3 awards, 3 architectural awards from the Canadian Governor General. And it's been built so that you have 2 arms on the street side, and then you have the Estonian map in the middle. So it's kind of like foreign Estonians are holding Estonia as a country in their arms. So this is glass. Estonia is no longer behind the Iron Curtain. It's transparent. It's easy to access. It's easy to come here as well. So this is all very open, and they're very much present. So the Estonians who will come there, they will come and enjoy the architecture, but I believe that they will come to recognize themselves. So this is the main high street is going past it, a couple of 100 meters north. Down the alley. So if you think where the Estonian Centre is, you look left and you can recognize the chandelier, and they know that you are there, and you can come and take a look if there might be some events there. Because as long as we are not using this building for folk dancing or for the choir, we rent the building out. So when it's being rented out, there's a wedding or conference, there's a bistro, which is always open for us. So this is not being closed. So it has its own program. So you can always drop by, find some friends there, and if possible, then look at the rest of the house. So would you dare to say when exactly you will have the opening event, or is it too early? I hope it's not going to be too early. So based on the current plan we have, the 31st of July, and the main works will be finished. So 6 weeks, everything has to be finished up. Then by autumn, the community can start. So it's 2025, 2026, and will be in the new building. So I hope that soon we can focus in the planning of the opening events. I understand that all the practical and financial considerations will have to be taken into account, but there is a more generic question as well. Because in Estonia, what do we think about? What is the Estonian story? What it is what we're trying to tell? Why are we here? What can we offer to the world? And of course, it's clear that this is the story which has to come from all these voices, which are not coming only from Estonia, but everywhere else. So our attempt to do this is due to the forums here, as we invite Estonians from other countries as well. We get them to talk, and we bring Eik here, who is able to talk to our soul when he sang his own version of the Estonian cult movie film's music. So what is your story in Toronto? What is the story you will tell in the Estonian Centre? We all speak the same language, but with a small difference. But Fred, you see, at Forest University, then the birds who sing the same song, then in Gotland they sing a little bit different, and in other countries it's again a little bit different. So we all tell the same story in slightly different ways, and I believe that this exchange amongst all of us strengthens the ties and the feeling of being an Estonian. So maybe in the 70s or in the 60s or in the 80s, this freedom fight was a very clear message which spoke to all of us. But it was really painful at the time. But now that time is over. So that means we can think about what is going to happen with the quality of life, how it's improved by our context Estonia. We are the children of the refugees, but we can strengthen our Estonian thanks to people who come recently from Estonia, and we offer our contacts and networks, and we can think in different ways. Because we had Estonian artists at Jazz Car, and that was a completely different viewpoint as well. So we cannot be, we are not necessarily only about one mission, freedom for Estonia, because that's no longer necessary, but it can be about the quality of life and enrichment. So this is the story we have. So the center itself is telling us the Estonian story in North America. So we introduce Estonia and Estonia's more friends we have across the world. So more certain is our future. So if we say that I'm an Estonian and somebody else says, oh, okay, I know an Estonian, or you are the first Estonian I meet, so it's a good possibility to introduce Estonia to anybody. So this center is an architectural pearl, as I mentioned. It's people who are coming to marvel at the work of the architect. So this is one way to introduce as well. So of course the space will be open to everybody. They can use it. And for example, in the courtyard, we have 3 gray waves around the building. So following the Estonian map, because as an Estonian, you can see it right away. There are our flag colors. because we don't even have to paint them the colors because we know what they are, and people who come and see it, they don't feel that they're in anybody else's house, but they can discover this Estonia for themselves. Thank you very much. We are greatly mostly the same mind. You mentioned Erik Laar, who came to Jaskara, attended myself, and it's really nice to know that the arrangements he used, I had sang them in a choir myself, so that was really amazing. Do you have anything else to add, or are we done? So I can say that I'm glad that Estonia is thinking about what are we doing outside Estonia as well, because we're all one nation, we support each other, and we can assure our future this way. Thank you very much.
Ja nüüd saate lõpetus.
And now to finish the program, I'm putting on the moderator hat once more. First of all, thank you to all our guests. Thank you once again to the viewers across the globe and also here in Estonia. In June, the Estonian European elections will take place from the 3rd to the 9th of June. All citizens of Estonia can participate if they wish. For more information, visit the website of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs or your nearest embassy homepage. And you can try how easy e-voting is for yourself, and you can learn about the candidates and their positions. And who will be the lucky winner who will receive a free flight for two to Estonia and the possibility to stay in a hotel in Tallinn. We will learn who the lucky winner is on the 10th of May at noon Estonian time when we have the draw. In the meanwhile, we'll be reading about each other's activities on Global Estonian website and in the monthly newsletter. Make sure you subscribe to it. And the newsletter is available in both Estonian and English. Our virtual forum will finish with Eik, with the piece May Showers. Have a wonderful spring and summer. See you at the next virtual forum that will take place in December 2024. Thank you for watching.
Palun maikuu vihmad, kui sulen silmad, üles ärkan öös. Maikuu vihmad, ma lõpetamas viimselt lõputööd. Too palun maikuu vihmad, kui sulen silmad, üles ärkan öös. Maikuu vihmad, mis me ajud selgeks löös. Ma jooksin nii, et selg on märg vastu trammi uksi ja läksin suga tülli telefonitsi. Kutsumata naasis märts, pea lõhki vastu lambi kuplitses linnas, kus päikest ainult pühapäeviti. Siis ma igatsen aegu, kui Kalarand oli veel metsik. Ja vildakalt arvan, et keegi taha vaata peeglik kõveraks speksis. Ja ühel vaiksel hommikul su lemmik kohviku asemele kerkinud on kastid. Ühel vaiksel hommikul kaldal naeratavad Johanson ja Laapin. Ma ülbin kaelani vees ja lained kannavad mind sellest linnast eemale. Ma ootan kevadet, mis sööb mul hinge seest. Ma ootan kevadet, mis nostalgia neeriks alla. Too palun maikuu vihmad, kui sulen silmad, üles ärkan öös. Maikuu vihmad, ma lõpetamas viimselt lõputööd. Too palun maikuu vihmad, kui sulen silmad, üles ärkan öös. Maikuu vihmad, mis me ainult selgeks löös. Ma kõnnin unes ümber Kalamaja pargi, kõlistades võtmeid taskutes. Mööda suletud saale, üritades lüüa läbi rusikad krohvitud seinast. ja ühel vaiksel hommikul su lemmikkohviku asemele kerkinud on kastid. Üleöö muutunud kohad, kus sa oled kolanud ja tunned kohatult ennast kui vahid. Siis ma igatsun aegu, kui kalarand oli veel metsi ja vildakalt arvan, et keegi taha vaatepeegli kõveraks peksis. Ja ühel vaiksel hommikul su lemmikkohviku asemele kerkinud on kastid. Ühel vaiksel hommikul vaikus pole nii vastik ja kikivarvul hõljud laseb möödunud aastat lahti. Ma ootan kevadet, mis sööb mul hinge seest. Ma ootan kevadet, mis nostalgia neeriks alla. Too palun maikuu vihmad, kui suled silmad üles ärkanud. Maikuu vihmad, ma lõpetamas viimsed lõputöö. Too palun maikuu vihmad, kui suled silmad üles ärkanud. Maikuu vihmad, mis me ainult selgeks lööb. Maikuu vihmad, kui sulen silmad üles ärkanud. Maikuu vihmad, ma lõpetamas viimsed lõputöö. Too palun maikuu